The Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast, episode 32.
Welcome to the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast with Countess. Ken is an internationally recognized marketing expert. This podcast will give you tips on how to market your business more effectively than ever before to help you make more money, whether you're just starting out or have been in business for years. And now, here's Countess.
Hey, welcome to the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast. This is episode 32. And if this is your first time listening, then thanks for coming. The Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast is produced every week for your education and enjoyment. And of course, all episodes can be found on our website. You can go to two different URLs. It's www.thecountessgroup.com or www.marketyourbusiness.co, not .com. So marketyourbusiness.co, just like this is the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast. So come on back often and feel free to add the podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. You can also find it on Google Play Music, and you can find it at podbean.com. But come back often. By the way, you can also follow me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/Ken Countess. On Twitter, that's at Countess Group, and on Facebook at facebook.com/The Countess Group. By the way, if you find value in this podcast, tell your friends. And what I'd like you to do is let me know what struggles you're having with marketing. We've made it super. You can go to the very first tab on the website homepage or anywhere on the site. It's the Contact Us Right Now button. Just click that. It'll pop open a form for you. Just go ahead and put in your info and let me know what struggles you're having. And we'll talk about it on an upcoming episode of the podcast. Or if you prefer, we can email you back or give you a call. By the way, you can also sign up for one-on-one coaching with me. Go to our website, once again, marketyourbusiness.co. You'll find our contact info there, or the Contact Us Right Now button will work too. Okay, so let's get into the show. We're going to follow up this time on stuff we covered in episode 20. That was called What is Content Marketing and What Makes It So Important? Of course, all of our podcasts are interrelated in some way, but if you haven't caught episode 20, that might be one to check into after you're done listening to this episode. All right, so now let's get into the show. And as I mentioned, today I'm talking about content marketing. And I do have to give a special shout out to my friends at Microsoft. You may recall that I'm a Microsoft partner, and most weeks I participate in a marketing call with the Microsoft team. They call it the Sure Step team. And today I want to give a special shout out to Diana, to Suzanne, to Chris, to Kim, and Melissa. And I'm going to be sharing with you some of the information that they shared in one of our recent calls. And with permission from Microsoft and from the Sure Step team, I'm going to talk about some information that I know will be very relevant to you, that will help you grow your business, help you market your business like a pro content. And I'm going to give you a bunch of tips that will make it easier to create content. That's something a lot of us shudder away from. Or it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to write content. I'm a bad writer. Well, I don't like to write myself, this truth be known. And what I've found over time is that there are some really great ways to create some very engaging content. And it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be involved. And in fact, if you listen to this podcast on a regular basis, you know that I will tell you oftentimes that the average person only spends about 15 seconds on an email. Now, of course, it's a little bit longer on a blog, on a website that's engaging, and so on. But the point is that if you plan everything out, you can generate some great content that keeps your audience engaged and you can do something that we like to keeps your audience engaged, and you can do something that we like to call these days building a tribe. You can build a tribe with great content. So over the next few minutes, I'll be giving you some helpful tips on how to create content and give you some tips to make planning and writing and designing your content a little bit easier. And it starts with great planning. That's step one. Step one actually is to go ahead and do an audit of your existing content. How do you do that? Well, the first thing you want to do is list your content in a spreadsheet. Whether you use Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets, go ahead and create a spreadsheet and throw into that spreadsheet all the URLs that you use. Throw in any performance stats, statistics that you know you have. Think about the buyer personas that include the buying stage that content is intended for. And I'll go into that a little bit more, but you want to be thinking about tailoring your content for people that are in various stages of the buying cycle. And of course, people that come across your content may be in various stages. So listen closely. This stuff will be very helpful to you, I'm sure. Now, once you've done this audit of your content, the URLs, performance stats, the buyer personas that you've written your content for, and the buying stages that they may be in, now go through that spreadsheet and highlight the content that's doing really well. You can find that out looking at the performance stats. And then take a look and see what's being ignored. That's just as important as the stuff that's doing well for you. Because, as you know, you should do more of what's working, number one, more of what's working and not do anything that's being ignored. Don't keep doing stuff that nobody is paying attention to. Then look at what you have a lot of and look at what may be missing. All right, so that's step number one, doing a content audit. Now here's step number two, and this comes from Harvard Web Publishing. So look at these tips or think about these tips. And interestingly enough, it's an acronym that forms the word OUCH, O-U-C-H. Use OUCH to evaluate your content. So what do each of those letters stand for? The letter O stands for out of date. It's out of date. It may be useful information, but maybe you need to refresh it. I'm recording this episode in the middle of May of 2018. Let's say that information, that content that you have on your website is from 2012. Let's say that information, that content that you have on your website is from 2012. That's an eternity ago in internet years, so go ahead and bring that content up to date. The U in OUCH stands for unnecessary. What content do you have out there that's unnecessary, maybe irrelevant? You don't want people to come to your website and find stuff that's totally unnecessary or irrelevant. That makes you and your company irrelevant. So get rid of that information. Remove it. Don't use it again. The C in OUCH stands for current. That's fine as it is. So no need to touch that. Maybe you want to touch it up a little bit, but if it's current and it's fine, don't mess with success. And then H stands for have to create. H is have, so have to create. So after identifying the O, called a current content, then determine what new content you may need to create. All right, so we've covered one and step two. There are 7 steps, so keep listening. Step 3 is to do what's called a content gap analysis. Now, using a model from research firm IDC, think about your buyer personas. Once again, we talked about buyer personas in an earlier episode. You may want to check that episode out. It got very, very high ratings, very significant amount of downloads. It became a very popular episode, so go ahead and check that one out. You can find all of the episodes, by the way, on our website, marketyourbusiness.co/podcast. And there you'll see a listing of every episode that we've published so far. So once again, think about your buyer personas. Do you have something for your personas for each and every stage of their buyer journey. So what are the stages what are the stages I'm referring to? Well, there are actually quite a few of them. So let's think about stage 1. There are 6 stages. Stage 1 is exploration. I'll cover these in a little bit more detail in just a few minutes. Stage 2 is the evaluation stage in the buyer journey. Stage 3 is the purchase part of the journey. Stage 4 is expansion. Stage 5 is, and stage 6 is advocacy. All right, so let's go into a little bit more detail with some examples of content in each stage of the customer journey. So there are different stages, and what I'm going to talk about is what you do in each stage. So I mentioned the 6 stages earlier. I'll go ahead and repeat them. What I'll go through with you now is what to do which stages I'm identifying, what to do in each stage, and then how to do what you need to do in each stage. So once again, we'll go through which stage, what to do, and how to do it. And stage 1 is explore. The what to do is that your SEO is critical. Search engine optimization absolutely is critical. So what to do? Make sure your site and content metadata right keywords. By the way, if you're not sure about what to do with this stuff, go ahead and reach out to us. Use the Contact Us Right Now button on our website. So once you've identified what the SEO stage is and what your content metadata is, what you do next to improve your SEO, how you do it is by producing some short, engaging videos, maybe some gated white papers, maybe an email sign-up. That's how you can help people along in the explore stage. Stage 2 is evaluate. What you do there is you pay attention to customer feedback. As they're evaluating your product and service, pay attention to their feedback. And how you do that, once you know some of the feedback, is create some webinars, create some demos, videos, testimonials, and maybe some email campaigns. Stage 3 is that purchase phase. The actions that you should take there are to create some offers to help get them to actually do the purchase. So create offers such as free consulting. How you do that is create some how-to content that they can access online. Send them email. Email campaigns work very well if you are giving them the right information. Provide some customer stories, maybe some testimonials. Produce and send some sales collateral. Stage 4 is expand. Once they've actually purchased, now you want to evaluate your service level to them and your support level. And you can expand your relationship with them with in-depth white papers, as one example. Stage 5 is the renewal stage. Now you've got that customer or client. They become a customer of yours, and you want to make sure you continue to provide them the service that you've been providing during stage 4. Now you want to connect about 3 to 6 months before the renewal time. Maybe it's a repurchase. Maybe they want to re-up their membership or their subscription. So how do you do that? How do you make sure? How do you keep them engaged so that they will renew, so that they will stay a customer? Well, what you do then is ensure your customers are actually using the product. Maybe offer them how-to content or invite them to webinars where they can see everything that they ought to know about using the product. Maybe a new feature has been added over the last couple of months since they originally made their purchase. So invite them. Have them become a part of your tribe. And they'll become lifelong customers, or at least as long as you would like them to be customers. And then number 6 is advocacy. Stage 6 is advocacy, and that's where you're actually soliciting customer testimonials. If they love you to death, if they love your product or service, they'll talk about you in a great way. The example I've used in the past, an example I love to use, is that down the road from where our office is a True Value hardware store. It's a very different experience than going into a big box location like a Home Depot or a Lowe's. I still go there too. But if I need something quickly, and I know, or at least have a sense that they offer it, I'll go into the True Value hardware store. That's because I get personal service. They'll take me right down the aisle and help me figure out exactly what I need. I talk about them. It's a great testimonial to their service. So once again, in the advocacy stage, which is stage 6, solicit customer testimonials and then create customer stories. Invite them to participate in a video testimonial. Many people are very, very willing to do that. There will be some, of course, that say, no, I'd rather not, and that's totally okay. But when you get a testimonial, a live person giving a great story about the product or service you offer, that makes for terrific content that will help you market your business like a pro. All right, step 4. That is assigning and prioritizing all of these content activities. So assign whatever you can to others on your team, if you have a big team or even a small team, and get buy-in from others who might be contributors too. So if you have a team, give them rewards for creating content that you can use. Maybe even make it a competition. Maybe you have rewards or awards for those who create content that are most shared or that generate the greatest number of leads. And then you could promote those benefits. Maybe you can establish the writer of the content as a real thought leader within your organization. And when you really talk about them, that helps them gain credibility maybe beyond your organization. And by the way, if you don't have a team, or you don't have a big team, or you don't have the time to get this stuff done internally, outsource to others that are outside your team. And think about a couple of these criteria. Is timing critical? If timing is critical, you might want to think about hiring a freelancer, maybe an outside agency. Maybe you can team up and collaborate with a professional colleague. Maybe you can invite a guest blogger or two, and maybe even hire an intern. Many of the local community colleges will have a program where you can invite an intern to work with you, either for credit or for pay. Step 5 in creating content that will really help you market your business is to find sources of inspiration for content. The first thing you should do is repurpose the content you already have. Maybe you can combine successful blog posts into an ebook. Maybe you can break a popular white paper that's already been created. Again, this is to help you repurpose material you already have. So break a popular white paper into short form content. Maybe add some catchy visuals to the white paper. Maybe take a how-to guide and turn it into a quiz of the week, or maybe create an infographic. Or turn a well-received webinar into an ebook. That's one of the strategies that we're using is we're taking webinars, we're actually uploading it to a transcription service, then retrieving the Word document that's created from the transcription and turning that into an ebook. And then all you need to do is add the graphics. Makes it pretty easy. More on step 5, sources of inspiration for content. You can sign up for news feeds from industry publications or other media or news sites. And here's another great way to get inspiration for content. Turn client questions and problems into content topics. These are the questions that people are asking about you and your services. go ahead and use that as inspiration for content. And there are some other places you can go. Here are a couple in what you might consider to be an inspiration toolkit. You can get titles and headlines. One website is impulsecreative.com. HubSpot has a great topic generator on their blog. BuzzSumo, that's BuzzSumo, buzzsumo.com, and Feedly, Feedly.com. That's step 5. Step 6, get organized. Again, we're thinking here about planning and, how important planning is. So collect your ideas and create a swipe file, something you can continually update. Maybe you put it in Microsoft OneNote if you're using that, or in a Teams file. Set up an editorial calendar to keep track of what you're creating and then where you might distribute it. Content to tell a story, and I may talk more about that in one of our other upcoming podcasts. I want to credit Suzanne Ross from the Microsoft team for a lot of the content that you're hearing about today. And once again, that Microsoft SureStep team that's really helped inspire a lot of the content for today's podcast is Diana and Suzanne Ross, who I just mentioned, Chris and Kim and Melissa. Big shout out and thanks to all of them. They really have helped me in a big way to help you understand how to create some great content. So how do you get started writing that story? Well, begin with a working descriptive title. It doesn't have to be final. And create a routine around it. Create some discipline. So maybe schedule some time. Maybe you need to begin with a little bit of meditation. Play some background music. Get something that'll get you in the mood. Meditation. Play some background music. Get something that'll get you in the mood to get these things written. And by the way, if you don't like to write, I mentioned earlier, I don't really like writing. I do like creating content, so you might want to do one of the tricks that I use, and that is to use Microsoft Word's dictate tool to get rough thoughts down. And there are lots of ways you can do that. Another inspiration I use when it comes to creating content, making notes for myself on things that might be included in a future podcast, is use your smartphone. Dictate a note to yourself. And go ahead and send it over to yourself, to your email address or what have you. So this way you remember. You may have this flash of bright ideas and you want to be sure you don't lose them. So the last part of this step 7, and by the way, I mentioned there are 7 steps. There are actually 8 this time around. I want to share with you 7 tips from Suzanne Ross's awesome Improve Your Writing checklist. And so I've got these 7 tips. Number 1, write shorter sentences. We tend to get pretty carried away. We think that we're writing for this audience that has all the time in the world to read. Some may, most of us do not. If you write shorter sentences, you tend to keep people's attention a little bit longer. Use simple words. Here's an example. Use the word use instead of utilize. Avoid jargon. I like to refer to jargon in some scenarios as technobabble. You may be used to talking in very technical terms or terms that you may not think are very technical because you use them every day, but maybe they're really jargon, and you want to avoid using jargon. Use as much language, layman's terms if you will, as you can. Use contractions so you get a more conversational tone. The world has changed a lot. 10 or 15 years ago, a lot of content was written in a very formal fashion, but the world's changed a lot. And now a conversational tone is something that's much more accepted, much more widely read or listened to in this example. Take out unnecessary words. Don't overcomplicate your sentences. Take out anything that's really unnecessary. Next, state your call to action more than once and make it visible. If it's written content, make sure that your call to action is very visible. I've mentioned a call to action a few times on this podcast, which is to go to our website, to the Contact Us Right Now button on our site, so you can leave us some feedback, so you can shoot us a note, ask a question, and so on. So that's the call to action in the verbal sense. Also, and this is the 7th tip to help improve your writing. There are more, but we'll limit it to 7 this time around. Break any really dense paragraphs into 2 or more, meaning keep the paragraphs a little bit shorter. Don't run on and on and on, okay? All right, step number 8. These are tips for better subject lines and headlines. Your headlines and subject lines should be small but mighty. They're the first thing your prospect judges you on, so you have little room for error. So take some time to write them well. You may want to write out a couple of options and then come back a few minutes later, an hour later, a day later, and see which ones actually resonate best with you. All right, so these tips will give you a head start on creating great content, and they'll have your audience coming back for more. So take advantage of this information. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and if you did, go ahead and let your friends and colleagues know about the podcast. This is episode 32 of the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast. So once again, if you found value in the podcast, tell your friends. And let me know what struggles you're still having with marketing. And you can sign up for one-on-one coaching with me. Just go to our website where you'll find our contact information. Once again, there's the brand new Contact Us Right Now button right on every page of the site. It's marketyourbusiness.co. Check out all of our episodes of the Market Your Business Like a for the podcast tab, and there you'll find all previous episodes. And while you're on our website, don't forget to check out all the other resources and sign up for our weekly newsletter too.
Thanks for listening to the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast with Ken Countess. Be sure to visit marketyourbusiness.co to access show notes, discover our fantastic content, and sign up for our mailing list. Have questions? Send Ken an email, ken@thecountessgroup.com, or Twitter @CountessGroup. See you next time.